Hello, dear student. We are starting our lecture series on Introduction to Political Science. My dear students, man is a social animal. He cannot live in isolation because he is not self-sufficient, and the natural instinct to survive compels him to live a collective life. According to Aristotle, this collective life necessitates a political mechanism of rules, regulations, and leadership. An organized society needs some system to make and enforce rules for orderly behavior in society. This led to the evolution of a political system with elaborate governmental institutions and procedures in each society. Therefore, man is also a political animal. Political science is one of the oldest subjects of study of this political life of man. It focuses on the theory and practice of government and politics at the local, state, national, and international level. This will be the sequence of the study that in this very lecture I will introduce you to political science. Then we will see that how different political thinkers they defined political science and what is the scope of political science, what actually we cover in the study of political science. We will then the summary of the chapter and then your questions. Political science is the branch of knowledge that deals with systematic study of the structure and behavior of the state and political institutions through scientific analysis. An economic discipline concerned with man's official institution activities such as the state, government, citizenship, public affair, etc. A social science concerned with the theory, description, analysis, and prediction of political behavior, political activities, and political system as a whole. Politics refers to the subject matter of study, whereas science denotes the methodology or the way of studying the process of politics. The first term seeks to answer the question what is studied, and the second term refers to how it is studied. Therefore, the political phenomena which should be studied in accordance with a definite plan or system is called political science. The definitions. Most definitions of political science deal generally with state and government. From the traditional point of view, we may define political science as the study of state and government in all their manifestations, aspects, and relationships. However, it is difficult to give a precise definition to political science. It is a social science, so that's why there is no standard definition of political science. The people actually they define it as they perceive things around them. So whatever the environment is there, so actually people define these terms in that particular environment. So it varies and it is difficult to give a precise definition. Some important definitions we will see here. So first we should know that from where this word politics came from. The term politics actually derived from a Greek word polis, which means city, states. And these city-state actually it was the basic unit of political organization in the ancient Greek. It was the Greeks who first embarked upon the study of state as distinct from the church, and politics was a subject which dealt with all the activities and affairs of the city-state. So these Greek philosophers actually they made no distinction between the state and the government on one hand, state and society on the other, and the personal and social life as well. Politics was a total study of man, society, state, morality, and so on. The foundation of political thinking were laid by the Greek philosopher Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Plato was the author of The Republic, and Aristotle, also considered the father of political science, was the first to use the term politics, and he is one who converted this subject into an academic discipline. He published his book Politics as a first systematic study of politics. Approach, they define politics as a study of state. Traditionally, political science is a science of state. That's what R.G. Tittle, J.W. Garner, and Bluntschli said. R.G. Tittle, how it defined political science, that political science is the historical investigation of what the state has been, an analytical study of what the state is, and a political ethical discussion of what the state ought to be. Like is a political science as a study of state in the past, present, and future, and of political institution and political theories. And J.W. Garner said that political science begins and ends with the state. Like everything, whatever comes around the state, or whatever belongs to a state, that is discussed in political science. So politics as a study of government. Paul Janet said that political science is that part of social science which treats the foundations of the state and the principles of the government. And other political thinkers like George Catlin and Hans Solon have accepted the view which state that politics deal with the state and government. And Paul Janet said that political science is concerned with the foundation of the state and principles of the government. George Catlin states that politics means either the activities of political life or the study of these activities, and these activities are generally treated as activities of the various organs of the government. Traditional approach, they were focused on that the study of politics is about national institutions. So Bridle expressed the view that political science is above all descriptive study which brings together the description of national political institutions, their history, their ideological principles, their working, the forces that direct them, the influence they undergo, the results they obtain, and their effect on the life of the country and its relations with neighboring states. So other political thinkers, Aristotle called its science of politics. Jadal said that it is a science of state, and politics deals with government, and politics is the study of national institution. So till here we learned about the traditional approach which belongs to Greek philosophers. And Greek philosophers, they discuss the state, the government, and the national institutions. So they were actually focused on only these three things. The concept of political science as a study of state, government, and national institutions is not considered adequate today. This aspect of above definitions emphasizes the legal structure only. They do not pay attention so what is actually happening in the state, and political science must include the study of informal structures, facts, and reality of politics. So it's not all about the structure of a state or structure of the government or the national institutions. It is more than that. So we can say that it is an incomplete definition, incomplete approach, so that the modern political thinkers, they added something different. So modern political thinkers like Laswell, Robertel have defined politics in terms of power, influence, and authority. According to these thinkers, power has acquired prominent position in political thought. Lord Harold Laswell considers political politics is the study of shaping and sharing political power. Robert A. Dell defined that a political system in any persistent pattern of human relationship that involves to a significant extent power, rule, or authority. So according to the view of these thinkers, entire political activity directed towards capturing and maintaining power. So power is a central idea in politics, that who get what, when, and how. If you are in power, so definitely you can shape the the, the whole concept of power, like how you get that, how you actually attain it, and how you maintain it. That is more powerful. It's not about only about to get the power. It is about how you maintain it. In modern approach, actually, they said that political science is a study of conflict resolution. And this view was suggested by Miller in his work, Nature of Politics. The purpose of a political activity is either to bring about a change or resist a change. People compete with each other to satisfy their needs. And when resources are limited and the people who want to utilize them are many, then conflict arises. And politics is a mean to resolve this conflict. So there are many forces working in a state. Few, they want to change the system, they want to change the government, they want to change the whole scenario, the environment in a state. And few, those who are very much familiar and very much comfortable with that system, they want to resist the change. So what actually happens in a state? So like there are limited resources, there are the population growth is really high, so limited resources, high population, conflict arise, and the government, and it is politics, it's a mean to resolve these conflicts. The modern emphasis in the study of politics is laid on disagreement and reconciliation or resolution of these disagreement. So whatever the disagreement, the conflict, or the confrontation that comes up or arises, it is the basic thing which is discussed in political science, and politics is a mean to resolve this conflict. In modern approach, political science is discussed as a study of correlation of many forces. The Encyclopedia of Social Sciences states, present-day political science revolves around the problem of the attainment, consolidation, and distribution of political power, whether in an actually existing state or a hypothetical state, like how people actually attain the power, how people actually attain the resources of a state, and how actually they consolidate the power, and how actually that political power is distributed among different segment of the society, segment of the government. So it is either it is an existing state or an hypothetical state. So political institution and politics cannot function in vacuum. Social and economic forces affect the political process. If we summarize and conclude the discussion, we will say that it is a reflection of the changing understanding of the discipline. Like people, as they perceive things, they define it. The Greek philosophers at that early history of politics, early history of political science, they studied and they discussed only few things which were actually happening in that state. So as the time passed on, the study of politics, it evolved and some new things added to the discussion. In the traditional approach, it suggests that political science is the study of state, government, and national institutions, and it studies the formal legal structures and theoretical part. And the modern approach, it emphasizes what is actually happening in the state, and it's stressed on the reality and actual facts of politics. Thus, it studies various forces, processes, informal structures, making it dynamic. And in the end, we can say that the political science is a systematic study of the state, government, political institutions, power, influence and authority, political processes, and political forces. So we will move next to the scope of political science. What's the scope of political science? What is actually covered in the study of political science? The scope of political science is vast, and experts have divided the field of political science into five subdisciplines that are political theory, public administration, comparative politics, international relations, and public law. It needs to be noted that these subdisciplines cover the entire gamut of the modern political economy and provide the basis for the study and understanding of how the global political economy works. The study of the matters concerning the allocation and distribution, as well as the transfer of power, is one of the main preoccupations of political scientists. The success or otherwise of the governance structures is gauged by political scientists who examine the multifaceted and multi-layered factors at work that contribute to good or bad governance. The scope of political scientists have now been broadened to include the realm of the study of the democratic elections across the world. In other words, with the explosion in the political systems all over the world, political scientists and their scope of study have been considerably enhanced. And a conference of political thinkers held in September 1948 at the UNESCO House decided the scope of political science. Number one, they said that political science is the study of political theories. Over the centuries, political scientists have concerned themselves with formulating political theories and political ideas. Like Plato explained theory of ideal state, theory of justice, and Hobbes' law also explained theory of origin of state. So these theory enables us to organize their observations and offer a foundation on which future observations and analysis can be based. The first and foremost thing that political theories are discussed, are studied in political. The study of political science includes the study of various constitutions, various systems of governments, their merits, demerits, etc. Whether it is parliamentary, presidential, dictatorial, democratic, coalition form of government. Such a study helps us to reform our political institution in order to realize our goals. The second thing we discuss about the political institutions, what are the merits, what are their demerits, and what systems are actually prevailing in the modern states, or what the previous governments were, the policies they were following, or either it's a single party government or it's a coalition form of government. So everything is discussed in political science. The third one is political parties and pressure groups. So various system of political parties, their role and importance is studied in political science as well. Pressure groups and interest groups are becoming more important. Political science studies their role, methods in a given political system. Opposition political parties, pressure groups, non-governmental organizations do not directly form the government. They indirectly influence governmental policies and decisions. Hence, the study of governance is incomplete if it is limited to the study of government. Like there are many actors, they play their role in the in a state and in the politics, so their role cannot be ignored, cannot be overlooked. So the opposition parties, the parties actually who is in the government as well, he has its own agenda, its own ideology. So it works according to their own understandings of politics. So what is the ideology, what is actually the main force behind the the party which is governing the state, and what are other political parties who are playing their role in a state. And it can be the opposition political parties, then the pressure groups. And opposition parties sometimes they form a pressure group to pressurize the government to change a certain policy. And there are certain non-governmental organizations, they even force, they even pressurize the government or compels the government to change a certain policy. Then the next, in political science, we discuss international relations, the study of international organization and their policies. States do not live in isolation. democratic policy, domestic policies, and foreign policy are interrelated. So whatever happening around the world, it might affect a state. So it doesn't mean that if something is happening in Middle East, it has nothing to do with Pakistan. No, because it's interconnected world. It is a well integrated and complex world. So this relationship is well integrated, and whatever happens on the other corner of the world, it actually disturbs the other corner of the world as well. Hence, the study of international relations becomes significant more in the times of globalization. So this is a globalized world, and we know that what is actually happening in a state. So it actually have leave an impact on other state as well. So political science is a study of relationship between government and civil society. So in political science, we discuss about the relationship between the government and the civil society. Both entities influence governance in different ways. Civil society includes citizens, non-governmental organizations, pressure groups, opposition political parties. Civil society influence governance indirectly by influencing the government and convincing it to adopt certain policies. In political processes. So political sociality, political theory, and political institutions. Modern political scientists feel that man's social life is an integrated whole. Any change in man's social environment have repercussions on man's political life as well. So the modern state cannot escape from that impact of the social, psychological, economic, and cultural forces. According to Lecoq, political science must not content itself with a mere analysis of political institutions as existing at any given time. It must take account of the process of change and evolution and the alteration of social and intellectual environment as well. Then political science is a master science. It is what Aristotle said, that political science is a master science because politics determines the environment within which every person will organize his life. No one claims that he has nothing to do with politics. Whatever the policies will be made by the government, whatever the political environment actually prevailing in a society, it have an impact on the life of the people. So a personal life is also get disturbed by this political environment. The last one is the study of political system and its environment. So there are different political system exist in around the globe, and they function in different way in different environments. So political science studies them with reference to the response given and feedback secured, like how the people feel the system is actually working or not, the people are satisfied with that or not. So what actually the people have achieved from that political system. So the policy of one system have an impact on the other system as well. So political decisions are not made in vacuums. So these are influenced by economic structure, social institutions, and the whole environment in which the state functions. So that's all in the discussion of the basic and the first chapter of political science. So we discussed about the traditional approach, the modern approach, that how actually they look into things, and then the scope of political science. So if you have any question. And if you have any question, you can ask, you can write to me at gmnurani@aol.com. So I will respond it as soon as possible. So in our next lecture, we will discuss about the nature of political science. Till then, bye-bye.